Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy Swears, and today I'm going to make a duo of ravens. Now I have this awesome ravens stencil from A Colorful Life Designs. It's an older one in the shop. It features two different variations of ravens, and I have my chocolate box here full of backgrounds. So my project here today is to make a card for my daughter and her friends who both like crows and ravens, and it's a congratulation card for finishing their first year of high school. So I'm looking for backgrounds that are going to work with the design that I have in mind with the stenciling, as well as ones that are kind of colors that they would each like. So they're going to be similar but a little bit different in terms of the outcome. And here I'm just flipping through to find some options. So I have some bright kind of monoprint backgrounds, or ones that are kind of like ink smushed and things like that. That's kind of the direction that I'm thinking, just because I want there to be some color, but I don't want it to be too bold to the point where I won't be able to ink blend over it. So that was kind of a shimmer spray. That was a maybe. I'm just going to whittle down and pick some options, and then here are the finished cards. So these are the ones that I chose. I'm going to walk you through the process and how I made it. I had quite a few backgrounds there. I hadn't quite narrowed it down. But here I wanted to look to see what congratulations sort of die cuts I had. And I realized here that even though I have loads of dies that say congratulations or congrats, for some reason I don't have very many of them cut out. So that is a project I need to put on my to-do list to beef up my sentiment binder here with congratulations sort of dies. So I have a couple, and then I have some that say woot or so proud of you and things like that. But overall, my kind of general scripty congrats ones, for some reason I don't have any die cut in my binder. So I've got to do that, but I did make it work with what I had. I have this one in the holographic sort of cardstock that says woot. Sadly, that one's discontinued. That was CZ Designs, Kathy Zilski. And then I have these congratulations ones that I'm considering. And then also Spanish sentiment, because they're both in Spanish immersion. So I'm just kind of flipping through to see what options. Oh, and then I have this "You're amazing." So I did decide to use one of those, and then I'll also put some sub-sentiments as well on the inside of the card. So stay tuned for that. But again, I'm just flipping through to see what my options are so I can make these both sort of congratulations based or I'm proud of you based cards for these two awesome girls. So I did go with the ones that I show here, and then I'm going to bring out my stencil and do some ink blending right on these panels. And the panels are die cut down. I did do like a deckled rectangle die cut on the one on the left. Sadly, that one isn't available anymore from Craftstash, but I'll try and link one that's comparable if you're in the market for that. But I'm using some Post-it tape here just to kind of mask off around the raven, the one that I'm going to use. And I have this blackjack ink from 𝗂𝗄𝗄𝗧, which I learned quickly was not juicy enough. So I had to get out my re-inker. I'm going to show you in a moment how I re-ink the ink pads. I'm thinking I need to do it more often. I see Ardith re-inks them a lot, and hers are juicy, and it sure does make ink blending a lot easier. Now, granted, if you do it too much or you don't wait for it to kind of soak in, then it could be maybe a little bit too much ink for ink blending. So just be mindful of that and kind of pounce off your blending brush or blending foam just to make sure you don't have too much ink on there. But man, did it make it so much easier to ink blend once I added more ink into this pad. So if you're in the market or have 𝗂𝗄𝗄𝗧 inks, because they're foam based, I feel like they dry out a little bit easier than the felt based ink pads. So be sure to get those re-inkers if you can. I like to buy them when I buy the actual color, because it feels like a boring purchase after the fact, right? Like when you're shopping and you want like new stuff. If I had to go back and buy like re-inkers, I don't feel like that would be a fun purchase. So if I'm able, and if you're able, I recommend buying the re-inkers when you get the ink pads, because then you'll just have it on hand. So here I did some simple ink blending with those two ravens. And then these are all my Tailored Expressions Simple Strip boxes. Most of these are Tailored Expressions Simple Strips, but I do have some Ellen Hutton ones that also fit. I love these boxes. I'm obsessed. I use them all the time. They have this cool tray. They hold like, I think 18 different sentiment strips or something like that. They work amazing with the Simple Strips system. So if you aren't familiar, I'll link everything below. be sure to check it out. It's absolutely genius. And if you're a batch and Betty like me, then having stuff like this on hand is such a huge time saver. So I'm flipping through. I have so many different kinds here. I'm trying to find ones that are like proud of you or congrats or I don't know. I'm not entirely sure the direction I want to go. These I think are from, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Uniquely Creative, I think is the name. Excuse me. And then this one is actually a foiled one. I did it was Tailored Expression, so I was able to use her die, but it was a toner sheet that I was able to use the negative space. So I used the toner sheet and got the one set of strips and then used what would be like the throwaway piece and put that on a different sheet and was able to get multiple of that sentiment. So very cool. Now the ink pad was too juicy. I ended up, even though I used that piece of paper, I still got it on the inside of the card base, and that bugged me. So I cut them off. Not ideal, but then I just used them still to have that dark matching blackjack border. I cut them off and then attached them to another card base. So I have the other halves that I can use for scrap, for die cutting or stamping or whatever. It's no big deal. But if your ink pad isn't that juicy, if you sandwich it in a piece of scrap paper, that should do the trick and keep you from getting ink on the inside of your card base. But again, the ink pad was just re-inked, so it was too juicy. Here, because I'm going to hand deliver them, I'm not worried about sending them in the post. I'm using a 2mm thick, 1-inch wide foam tape. Here's my custom stamp from Jessica Lynn Originals to kind of put my little stamp on the back. And then basically I just need to assemble everything. So I use liquid glue and then I pick out some blingage. So this is also from Colorful Life Designs. There's over 130 of these colors of this amazing bling in the shop. You can use my coupon for that. So if you shop for anything, be sure to use coupon AmyFan10 at checkout and you can save on your complete order. That one was Crystal Metallic Enchanted. And then I'm trying to remember what one I went with for this one. I think it may have been Calypso or something. I'll try and tell you in a minute if I don't move it too fast. Oh yeah, I was considering that like nude or the cashmere color. Those would have worked. But I think I did end up going with, the Crystal Metallic Calypso. So I put those down in a smattering on both the cards. On the inside it says, congrats, you did it. Then that one says, woot. So proud of you, or woot, proud of you. And then this one says you're amazing and congratulations on the inside. So I was able to deliver these to my daughter and her friend and they love them. So yay, win-win. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing and I'll catch you next time. Bye.